Today we have our Element back on the table again to do some upgrades to. It's nothing performance related, but is cosmetic related. Something that kind of bothers me is I was looking at some pictures of the Element that I'd taken, and where you can see up in here. That kind of bothers me. I mean, I plan to do an interior on this eventually, but until then I need a way to hide that. If you look at some of my past videos, like on Cheap Bolt, I made some cheap inner fenders out of some ice cream containers. On this one, we're going to do something a little bit different. What are we going to do to fill these holes? Well, let me show you. You may have seen these on our Instagram. And if you're not following us there, you should go ahead and give us a subscribe on there as well. And follow us there. The link is down below. But I'm going to use these Element Inner Fenders 42132. Here you can kind of see them in the bag. Let me go and take them out of the bag so we can get a better look at them. And here you see them out of the package. There's two for the rear and two for the front here. They come all molded together. I'm going to trim them apart before I paint them. What else is in the package? Well, you get hardware to mount these down with, and one little itty bitty tiny Element sticker. Didn't really expect more stickers, but surprised that that's all you got. Anyway, like I said, let me get these cut apart here so we can see their shape a little bit better. They do have lines here to follow the cut. You can use Lexan scissors or the score and bend method, or a combination of. Just pay attention while cutting these out because there are little flaps here. See if I can get this focus on it there. There you go. That shows you where you mount them at. It has little spots to drill holes to mount them. Okay, let me get these cut out, and I'll be back to show you what the cut versions look like. Oh, now I have these pieces cut out. These ones follow the stock lines, while the other two here have been cut and modified to fit my TrailRunner. Like, for example, here on this one, you can see how much I had to trim away in the front because I'm running an aftermarket bumper. If I was running a stock bumper, I wouldn't have to trim it back. And on a stock Sendero, I think it fit without any extra trimming. Like here, I had to curve it so it wasn't rubbing on the body. As well, I did have to trim this one a little bit right through here to clear the wires the way I have them ran for the winch and stuff on my truck. Looking at the rear ones here, I'm running an aftermarket bumper on the rear as well. If you followed along the video on it, you saw me installing it. And you can see how much I had to trim away there. So just be mindful to mount these and see how much you need to trim for clearances. Speaking of mounting, how do these mount? Let me show you. Okay, let's slide this into place. There we go. Now they mount back here because on the slider there's some holes here in the front, and the screws will come up through the bottom and nuts will hold them on there. On the front of the truck though, it uses just the bumper mounts here where the screws go through to hold the bumper on. That's where they mount right there. The rear is the same way, just use the mounts on the slider right here, and in the rear bumper holes, bumper mount holes. Well, right now I'm going to go ahead and trim the other two pieces up so they will fit, and then paint them and come back and mount them up. Here are the inner fenders painted and ready to go. This will be one of the front ones. Be white on top because if I ever do an opening hood, we'll look in and see all the inner fenders and the workings there, and usually they're painted body color, but the underside you see through the wheel well will be a darker color. This is gunmetal. Should look good in there. The rears, gunmetal on the bottom as well, and copper on top. Because eventually I will add a copper interior, or at least copper colored, and these will probably go up through it, so I want them to be visible. And go ahead and paint them now instead of later. Could have just left it all gunmetal and it'd been fine, but just went for something a little bit different. Next time you see these, they will be mounted up inside the TrailRunner. And now, we have inner fenders. There's the front ones. As you can tell, painted inside a gunmetal color and painted the top side white. for in case I ever do add a motor cover to cover this. It'll look a little more realistic with the body off, or if I ever add an opening hood. In the rear, once again, gunmetal on the part you see on the outside, and the inside on there, and then here, it's done copper. Because like I said, eventually I plan to add an interior that's going to have a drop cargo area here. So I want these will probably stick up through there, and I'm planning to do the interior in a copper and gunmetal color anyway. So these are painted on both sides. If you do decide to paint the top side, do remember these have a film on them that needs pulled off. You can also see here how they mount there and up in there. I put washers on these just to help protect them, so if it gets caught, it doesn't just pull through the bolt head. It does come with new hardware for the back and for the front up here, but I reused existing because I had longer ones in the back already, and I have longer ones in the front as well. So how well do these work? Let's put the body on and I will show you. Okay, let's look. There you go. You can look up inside there and see that that covers up nicely. You can't see the servos in there anymore. Does a good job hiding the battery and all that. Let's look at the other side. So you can barely see the spool to my winch servo up there, but now you don't see the whole servo, so it hides that nicely. Whenever you're taking pictures now from low angles, you're not looking right up at the roof of the truck. So nice there. You can see where I had to trim it back here to clear where I'm running a aftermarket bumper. It's up higher. Let's look at the back. See there, covers all that too. Not looking up into the passenger compartment. It fits nicely up in there. Very nicely. You can still see where my muffler mounts right below it. I did have to trim a little bit for that because of the way I have the muffler running here. If you missed the episode where I put this rear bumper on, I had to raise this muffler up to work with this bumper, and honestly it's not a bad idea to raise it up anyway. And there we get a bird's eye view of what it looks like. These are very big, so they do take up a lot of room inside because, well, let's be honest about it, these are pretty nice sized wheel wells on the body itself, and so you need to hide that. And these are made to fit a variety of bodies. These will fit pretty much any kind of body. I did have to trim it down just a little bit up here, right through here, because of the way the TrailRunner body curves in. So make sure you do test fit them nicely before you decide to paint them. Test fit them a couple, 3 times to make sure everything lines up the way it should. These are made, if you notice, it has the bigger hole here, the bigger indentation for the large battery tray. I run a small battery tray because I just run a 1300 3S. I find that to be plenty for my trailing adventures. Another upside to these inner fenders is it will keep rocks, debris, and dirt and crap like that out of getting up inside your body. So it helps keep everything else in here cleaner. So in the end, that makes maintenance on these vehicles a lot easier because you don't have all that crud that builds up in here. Now, on the other side of that, if you're running a lot of mud and stuff, it could hold mud and water in instead of just letting it flow on out. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little video. I think inner fenders should be added to any kind of scale rig just because of 2 reasons. A, the looks, and because it keeps stuff out of the inside of the truck. This is a really nice kit. It fits the truck very nicely, and all the holes lined up right where they're supposed to be. So do make sure you are careful whenever you cut these out that you don't accidentally cut off one of these tabs that it mounts with. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them down below. We do our best to answer every question we receive. Also, please subscribe. That really helps us out a lot. If you subscribe or like this video, it helps with the algorithm. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We post a lot of stuff on Instagram that never makes it into our crawling videos. So please check that out. And until next time, happy RCing.